Welcome into this Thursday edition of what ABC 24 Weather Impact Now. I'm meteorologist Kit Thomas. We've had a lot of rain over the last week and a few rounds of severe thunderstorms kicking off a severe season, not only here but across much of the Midwest and the plains too. If you remember last year, we had our severe weather kickoff in February, so we started off a little bit later this year, but we still have a lot of time left for our severe season. It really doesn't wind down until after May. So let's go ahead and look outside this evening in East Memphis. Beautiful blue skies, not completely clear. A few clouds here and there across the area as we are starting to see some of those clouds just coming in from the upper levels of the atmosphere, swinging in to our area. Of course, we're keeping a close eye on things, but we are going to see maybe a bit of a change eventually. You know, today was just a bit cooler out there. Things were a little bit nicer as a lot of us might have been enjoying the heat, and it was a little bit cooler. Maybe we weren't wanting the heat quite so much, and we're going to be a little cooler tomorrow. So it is going to be a bit of an interesting forecast as we get into the later part of the weekend. We could have some strong thunderstorms on Sunday evening. Now, of course, it's going to be quiet between here and there, so that's good news for us. Sort of makes up for Friday and Saturday of last weekend. But sunny for now. Those storms come in the late Sunday evening time frame. And the next impact is going to be the severe aspects of that. We'll look at that in just a few minutes, but take a look at the temperatures around the area right now, where it's 57 degrees here in Memphis, 53 up towards St. Louis, 57 in Little Rock, Jackson, Tennessee at around 60 degrees. So much cooler than we've seen over the last several hours today. Looking at temperatures right now around the region, or around the area, we're at 53 in Dyersburg, 54 up towards Covington, 55 out towards the Oxford area as well. So I want to take a look at just the 24-hour temperature change around the area, because we've cooled down quite a bit since this time yesterday. But the thing is, it's not quite as much as we saw a jump from the last couple of days, because we had the cold front already passing through by this time yesterday. We were in the 70s the day before, so it was a pretty big change around the area. Of course, our winds have also switched out of the north around the area, so it's not quite as breezy as it was yesterday, especially last night. We had winds gusting 30 to 35 miles per hour around the area. And that was the high pressure that was pulling in all of the cold air. And that's going to be setting us up for today at least, but that same high is now shifting to our southeast. And that's going to start to bring in more winds from the south, and that's going to help us warm up here in the next couple of days. Let's take a look at the eastern Pacific here. We've got a big dome of high pressure that's about to come in to California, and it's going to sit over the western U.S. We'll talk a little more in the details of this later on, but this is also going to give us a little more settled weather, because on the downside of a high pressure where the winds are turning back to the south, this is usually where we have a trough, and that's sometimes where we can have severe storms, or actually more settled weather. This is the trough here that we see the more severe storm side. So if the high is to our east, that usually leads to a little more severe activity. If it's to our west, that usually leads to northwest flow, and things are very calm for us. So take a look around the region. We've got some northwest flow around the area right now. Like I was saying, we've got that high that's starting to build in. So with the winds coming out of the northwest, that's more sinking air. We've got the high pressure here at the surface right under that dip of the jet stream. This was where we had our severe weather across the Midwest and the Mid-South the last couple of days. That front has made it all the way out to the Atlantic, and we are under just a weak high pressure here across the area. It's keeping us nice and clear, lots of blue sky out there, but we start to see some of those upper level jet stream clouds starting to push into the area as well. So we'll keep an eye out on that over the next couple of days here as we see just a couple rounds of high level clouds. The thing is, the jet stream is fairly settled the next couple of days. It's just going basically from the west to the east. We call that zonal flow, where it just doesn't really have much activity going on. Whenever it starts to go more south to north, that's what we call meridional flow. You know, the prime meridian, that's north to south flow, and that's where we get a little more agitated weather, because we're exchanging the cold air that's all the way up to the north up here with the warm air that's to the south, and the collision of those air masses is what leads to all the interesting weather, but also the dangerous weather out there as well. As we get Friday into Saturday, though, we start to see a trough digging to the south here across the Rockies here. in the Central Plains. As we get to Sunday morning here, it's already setting up, and we've got a weak jet streak right here across Texas that's starting to move to our area. Once that starts to pivot, and notice sort of how it's curving right around our area. One thing that we need, of course, is the winds to be accelerating over us. That helps to remove the air out from over top of us, and that allows those storms to rise very quickly to fill in that void that it makes. Another way you can do it is directional divergence, where some is going over here, some is going over there, and that tends to spread out, and that also leads to that rising motion. We've got a little bit of that directional shear where it's turning north and continuing east over the Mid-South. We don't have quite as much speed divergence here, but it is right there coming in with that jet stream as the jet stream is intensifying. So that's going to start to remove more and more air, and that's going to lead to a potential severe weather setup. After that, though, that's when we get that high we were looking at off the coast of California. That's when it comes into the west coast and really starts to build in the heat dome out that direction. Of course, high pressure moves clockwise, so that's going to bring in that northwest flow. Once again, more settled weather for us here across the Mid-South. Now, Sunday evening, we already have a day 4 outlook. This is from the Storm Prediction Center, a division of NOAA. They're the ones who put these severe weather outlooks together and keep everyone on the same page of when we can expect that severe thunderstorm activity to return. They've been working hard over the last week with all of the severe weather that we've seen. This is a level 2 threat, a slight risk. Now, due to the uncertainty of days 4 through 8, the long range that they give for these forecasts, they only do the level 2 and level 3 forecasts. Level 1 is the marginal. That's where it's, maybe we'll see it, maybe we won't. It's just right on the cusp of severe. We can't really see because it's such a low threshold. In the long-range forecast, uncertainty is a little bit higher, so it makes it difficult to parse out those low-end threats. Same thing for the high-end threat. They don't issue the level 4 or level 5 threats for the long range because to forecast that extreme, you need confidence, and we just don't have that in the long range. So we are thinking that we will possibly see severe weather in this zone. We'll sort of refine that forecast the next couple of days here, and we'll be able to see what threats will be. If it's going to be hail, wind, or tornadoes. At this point, it looks like we could have that wind threat. Anytime we have thunderstorms, that's usually going to be the primary threat. Heavy rain, of course, is going to be the other thing. We've seen what the rain has done over the last few days, and that could lead to more flash flooding for us, or aerial flooding at the very least. Also, there is a tornado risk because the winds are turning with height in this time, so that can also lead to a tornado risk. So everything there with the possibility. And the timing of it looks to be Sunday evening. It's going to be mostly after dark for us as the front is pushing in. We'll actually have a really warm day, but if it actually comes a little earlier, they might be a little stronger. Because if they can tap into all of the heat from the afternoon with our temperatures in the 70s, that's going to help those thunderstorms build very quickly. But if the surface starts to cool and sort of a mid-layer, warm layer starts to develop, that could inhibit a bit of that rising motion. It could still produce thunderstorms, but it's going to slow down those updrafts and maybe produce less of a extreme severe risk, and it'll be on the lower end. So we'll hope for the later arrival rather than an earlier afternoon arrival. So over the next couple of days, if you've had some thunderstorms around the area that you have seen, have knocked some of your spring furniture out there on the patio around, maybe take those inside Sunday afternoon after you enjoy the day. Again, most of the day Sunday is going to be fine. Let's take a look at the fronts forecast here as we go through the next couple of days. That high pressure moves off to our east, brings in more southerly air, and we've got a cold front looming to our north Friday. The good news is it keeps pushing east and it starts to break up. It's not going to push in all to our area, and we'll actually see still mild temperatures Friday into Saturday. And we even see a warm front developing across the plains with some pretty strong winds across the Dallas area up towards Oklahoma City there, Texas, Oklahoma, some pretty windy southerly winds around that area Saturday evening. Those warm winds continue to push into our area as we get into Sunday. Now, of course, this is where we've got that severe weather risk. You see the cold front, you see the winds. Those are two of the factors we need. We were already looking at the upper levels, but these are surface features that are also necessary. We need the warm, moist air coming out of the south. We've definitely got that. And we need something to act as the trigger mechanism. The cold front forcing itself underneath the warm air mass, that can actually start those thunderstorms going up. Occasionally, you can have free convection where you just have enough heat in the system where everything starts to rise and it breaks through and continues to turn into a thunderstorm. Sometimes you need something to sort of wedge it under and push it up, and that initial lift will get those thunderstorms rolling. And it looks like that's going to be the case with this. As that front starts to push in, all of that moisture gets sort of pushed behind the front, and that's where those thunderstorms will develop. And if that's the case, I think we'll see less of a risk of tornadoes specifically, because whenever you have the cold front underneath the warm air, that usually leads to what's called elevated thunderstorms. You get a cold pool right there at the surface, and it makes it a little less likely for a tornado to form, but hail can be a little more likely because we've got a lot of that cold air aloft. Another piece of evidence of that cold air is all of the snow that we see across Missouri. We're not going to see any snow, but it is going to be just much colder temperatures as we get into the backside of the system. And that northwest wind setting up for our Monday and Tuesday. But eventually next week, we start to warm things back up. So in the meantime, tonight is going to be another chilly night. It was pretty cold this morning, but going to be a little chillier tonight. 42 for the low, looking at 67 in the afternoon. So a little warmer in the afternoon. That's good. We're moving up about 10 degrees tomorrow, and we'll keep on moving up after that. Looking out across eastern Arkansas, it's looking like 68 around Helena, West Helena, 69 for Earl and Wynn, 67 for Blytheville. Looking at Batesville and Oxford, you're both at 69 tomorrow afternoon. Hernando, Senatobia, Clarksdale, all at 68. 69, 68, right there, upper 60s is about the forecast for many of us here around the area. Take a look at your 7-day now. Temperatures are going to be going up into the mid-70s there by Saturday, maybe even near upper 70s for some of us, especially to our south in Mississippi. It'll be a little bit warmer. So again, if those storms arrive and can tap into all of that heat a little bit earlier, then maybe it's a little more of an intense situation for us, but it's all pointing right now to be a later system. Of course, the forecast evolves, so keep checking back in here at ABC 24 for the next few days for more updates on that forecast. But the cold air that settles in after that, we're talking about a frost and maybe even a freeze as we get into Monday and Tuesday. Temperatures dropping down into the 20s there Tuesday morning. It looks like we'll start to warm up. I'll have more details on that warm up coming up, but of course we've got more to come here on ABC 24 Weather Impact Now. We'll be right back after this.